case briefs, and so much more. LSData's got what you're looking for.
In 1952, the U.S. Supreme Court heard the case of Arrowsmith v. Commissioner, which centered around the classification of losses incurred during a corporate liquidation. Two taxpayers with equal shares in a corporation decided to liquidate their business in 1937 and classified the profits from this transaction as capital gains, allowing them to pay lower income tax. Years later, the taxpayers paid a judgment against their old corporation, but classified this loss as an ordinary business loss, taking a full tax deduction for it. The commissioner disagreed, arguing that the loss should be treated as a capital loss, which would not allow for a full tax deduction. Initially, the tax court sided with the taxpayers, classifying the loss as an ordinary business loss. However, the Court of Appeals reversed this decision, treating the loss as a capital one instead. The Supreme Court ultimately agreed with the Court of Appeals, holding that the losses from the liquidation distribution should be classified as capital losses. This was due to the fact that the taxpayer's liability was directly tied to the liquidation proceedings and should not be treated separately as part of an ordinary business transaction. The Supreme Court rejected the argument that the payments transformed from a capital transaction in 1940 to an ordinary business transaction in 1944, due to the principle that each taxable year is a separate unit for tax accounting purposes. Additionally, the court found that taxpayer Bauer could not claim a preferred tax position based on his liability as an individual in an ordinary business transaction. Rather, his liability was tied to his role as a transferee of corporate assets and his fiduciary relationship to the judgment creditor, which required him to pay half the judgment. The Supreme Court ultimately affirmed the judgment, classifying the taxpayers' losses as capital losses instead of ordinary business losses.
Case briefs, and so much more. LSData's got what you're looking for. Visit lsd.law, elevate your mind. Leave the stress of class.